From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. It's April Fool's. So shall we start with April Fool's jokes? I'm kidding. No jokes this morning because even though I did have a few, the news are too plentiful in order to actually have a laugh this morning. So with that being said, packed show for all of y'all today. We're going to get right into it here in just a minute. Ernesto's already got his coffee in hand. So yesterday I told you guys the coffee I had, right? So while I was in Israel, like, you go to a gas station to have coffee capsules for Nespresso machines. It's unbelievable. It's why it's my favorite place, right? Like, you could just get a good espresso anywhere. Like, gas station espresso in Israel is better than Starbucks. Let me repeat that. Gas station espresso in Israel is better than Starbucks. I kid you not. Brian Penny will attest to it. He was with me in Israel. I've got my Turkish coffee here. So this is a Turkish coffee espresso. This is what it looks like. So this is kind of like the espresso. Like it's written in Hebrew, but it says Turkish, right? When I lived in Israel for a while, I used to love Turkish coffee. It's kind of a good way to make it, right? Really fun, balanced. If you ever had Turkish coffee, you know. Having it in espresso format, mind blown. I bought one of these. I regret not buying more. Luckily, I'm going back real soon again, so I'll get a whole bunch more, like probably a suitcase worth. Without further ado, coffee cup cheers, y'all. It's really, really good. Like, really good. I had to do 2 sips this morning too because it's good. It really is. It's good. Like a 9.2 on my espresso scale. Yeah, said it. A total Portnoy rookie here, but 9.2. There we go. Let's kick off this morning's news with a retaliatory attack on the subway system in Moscow, where apparently the Moscow subway app and website were disrupted in what appears to be a retaliation for the Ukrainian railway hack last week. During the outage, the subway website displayed a message purportedly from the Ukraine National Railway operator. I'm not going to try to say that, which was recently hit by a large-scale attack. The message resembled what Ukrainian users saw immediately after the attack on their subway system. As of Monday evening in Moscow, the message has been removed. The website does remain down, and the city transit department blamed the disruption on ongoing technical maintenance, although they haven't confirmed it's a cyber attack. We can tell you it's a cyber attack. According to Russian users and the outage monitoring service Down Detector, the subway app was also still unavailable as of Monday evening. Some users reportedly being unable to even use their digital travel passes. Last week, unknown actors disrupted the online services of the Ukrainian state railway operator. You can only imagine, like, who's going to do that one? Ukraine gets hit. Ukraine retaliates, hits back on Russia. Cyber warfare is very, very kinetic. It's very, very real. And that's really the theme for our first 2 stories today. Cyber warfare for economic damage. And that's something that I talked about at the panel at CyberTech last week. As everyone on the panel was kind of talking about the geopolitical aspect, coming from the private sector, you very quickly realize cyber warfare against specific companies from specific locations as a way to encourage economic divestment from those places. I say that because our next story here is around the CheckPoint breach, apparently, where a threat actor using the name Core Injection announcing on breach forums that they're selling data that was allegedly stolen from CheckPoint for approximately 5 Bitcoins, which is the equivalent of $430,000, give or take. The threat actor claimed the theft of a broad range of data from the security firm, including some project documentation credentials, network maps and architecture diagrams, some source code binaries, and even employee contact details. The series of screenshots in their listings prove that they did have access to CheckPoint systems. According to the post from Hudson Rock co-founder and CTO Alon Gal, the screenshots appear genuine, especially since the attacker does have a record of having legitimate leaks. Starting mid-March, Core Injection announced the sale of data allegedly stolen from 5 different companies, most of them in Israel, so showing a specific focus there. And again, they're not selling for a lot of money, right? The range 30 to 100,000, CheckPoint being the most expensive at 430. CheckPoint responding to the claim, saying the data did not come from a fresh breach, and the threat actor is greatly exaggerating the importance of the exfiltrated information. According to the attacker, CheckPoint, the attacker's post CheckPoint says relates to an incident that occurred in December of 2024. That's 5 months ago. After credentials for a portal account was compromised, the account had limited access. The intrusion was addressed immediately. This event includes 3 organization tenants in a portal that does not include customer systems, production, or even security architecture. The event did not include the description detailed in the post. They're saying that's exaggerated. So let's read between the lines. All right. They were breached back in December of 2024. That breach didn't entail any sort of what they would consider to be critical type of information. And what do they mean by critical type of information? We can see it right here. They're saying that this was a portal that went into 3 different organization tenants in a portal that didn't have any customer systems, didn't have anything in prod or security architecture. So that's likely where this was. So again, everything that Core Injector is doing has been related. Their last 5 posts have all been Israeli companies. So could it be cyber warfare for economic espionage? Potentially. I won't discount that, but I don't have proof to say it wholeheartedly. I don't. So again, if you tune into the show, you know I'm going to say it straight. There's proof, there is it. If there isn't, there is it. Gut feeling says it's that. Talked about it on my panel. It's weird to see it actually come to fruition just not even a week later. I mean, I spoke about it on Wednesday and gave examples of how Iran were targeting Israeli companies, how the Russians were targeting Israeli companies as well in order to cause that kind of divestment since October 7th. So no surprise to see this here now. We'll see how CheckPoint recovers, by the way, from this and kind of the details they give out. But all in all, CheckPoint should be okay. It doesn't seem to be anything critical. If it was, he'd be selling it for a whole lot more money, by the way. So threat actor has published an additional 270,000 customer records allegedly stolen from Samsung's Germany's ticketing system, according to Hudson Rock. The threat actor behind the leak uses the name GHNA, apparently gained access to Samsung systems using some stolen credentials of a Spectus GmbH account used for monitoring and service quality improvement. The credentials were compromised back in 2021 after a Spectus GmbH employee's computer was infected with the Raccoon info stealer. The login information was never rotated and sat dormant for 4 years. It was used this year to access Samsung system and dump 270,000 customer tickets on the internet. It's just amazing to me when I read these stories, when I go over them, just the simplicity of how these issues happen and how you end up being like an RSS feed alert for anyone, right? Rotate information, rotate credentials. 4 years you've had the ability to do this. 4 years, yet never done it. It kind of shows you the complacency of identity management and why the identity is the new perimeter, right? This has to be whole. I mean, obviously, compromised credentials, no MFA. So we can assume there's no MFA here because the user 4 years later was able to log in and there was no MFA, meaning they may have known the credentials were stolen and then they never rotated them and then they never deployed MFA. Had they had MFA, this would have been moot. I wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about the next story, which is way more interesting than this one. But we're not. We're talking about Samsung. So according to Hudson Rock, the leaked data could be used as part of various types of attacks, including some targeted phishing, account takeover, via customer support impersonation, or even fraud, like fake warranty claims, and even physical attacks like porch pirates. And there's been a connection with that, by the way. So law enforcement has said that some porch pirates in the U.S. that are stealing packages are doing so because attackers online are compromising people's accounts, knowing what's coming, and then they're handing out those addresses to porch pirates who go and steal the goods. So keep that in mind. Cyber is part of physical. They're not detached. Yes, there's a lot of crime that happens online that doesn't exist, meaning that doesn't have a physical existence. But there's a lot of it where they're using the OSINT, that type of information, in order to target others. One situation I read about from someone by the name of Paul, who does a lot of this, teens being blackmailed and whatnot. One teen was doing a like FaceTime or some sort of video messaging with a threat actor pretending to be someone else, and they were watching the entire neighborhood. They were taking all the data, and then they were using that data in order to target neighbors and other people. So just keep that in mind. I mean, this stuff does manifest in physical form eventually, and when it does, you don't want to be on the end of that because you'll be unpleasantly surprised. So Jiao Feng Wang, who's a computer scientist and professor at Indiana University, has vanished along with his wife Nianali Ma. The couple's disappearance raising multitude of questions, especially after they were removed from the university's websites and their homes were raided by the FBI. Wang, who's a prominent figure in the field of cryptography, privacy, and cybersecurity, has had a 2-decade distinguished career as a professor at Indiana University's Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering. He's held academic and research roles. Now, him disappearing is something very, very weird. His academic journey did include contributions to projects funded by the tune of $23 million, solidifying him as one of the leading computer scientist researchers in the nation. However, some developments are now casting a shadow over his career, raising serious concerns as his profile page, email account, and phone number were quietly erased from the university's website without any sort of explanation. He's essentially vanished from the earth. We don't know whether or not he's been arrested or whether he's fled potentially to China. And this was a long-term espionage operation at the university. FBI agents raided both of the couple's homes. They had one in Bloomington and Carmel, Indiana. According to local news reports, several unmarked vehicles arrived at their Bloomington residence on Friday, agents spending hours moving boxes in and out of the property. A second raid at their Carmel home, where agents conducted a search that reportedly included questioning a woman outside the property and then accessing the attic. Despite the heavy law enforcement presence, FBI has not said a thing, but this is still under investigation, and it's reached kind of social media, and there's a whole stuff around where have they gone and why are they erasing him off the website. So we're going to keep monitoring this on our end. We know that China has long sent students and professors to work in American universities, build an American life, no different than what the KGB did during the Cold War, where they would send these people in to mix in with society, but really they were spies. Their job was to use essentially American universities and students as a way to promote the CCP agenda. Wouldn't be far-fetched that that's the case. Now let's get to the second part of the show because we've got 5 minutes left and a lot of stories to cover. So Crush FTP obviously hasn't learned a thing about life. So we're going to give them a real kind of interesting thing. So one, they've had a zero-day exploit. That zero-day exploit was never assigned to CVE. They never assigned it to CVE. VoneCheck, being VoneCheck, great team at the VoneCheck. I actually got to meet him at S4. Really smart group of people. Said, wait a minute, you're not giving it a CVE, so we're just going to go ahead and assign a CVE to it, which was CVE 2025-2825. Apparently to Crush FTP, that was like a big no-no. They're like, hey, dude, we filed for it. We're waiting for our CVE. Why are you filing an CVE for us? Wait a minute, we're not on the same team. And they're like, well, you haven't done it. And then they go, well, our CVE is better than yours because ours is CVE 2025-31161. However, because the industry started using VoneCheck, because VoneCheck actually has a reputation and are trusted, everyone started tracking it as 2825. And that's a critical authentication bypass that could be exploited using a specially crafted HTTP request. Several security firms analyzed the vulnerabilities, shared technical details, and even a proof of concept exploit. Crush FTP goes, what are you guys doing? We're not ready yet. You're setting us up. Crush FTP, here's a tip. When you have a vulnerability, it's a zero day and it's being exploited, you partner with these organizations to help address it. You don't really go after them for beating you to the punch. Just a thought. There's that. CISA for their end issued on Friday an alert of a new malware variant dubbed Resurge, which is exploiting, guess what? Are you ready for it? I haven't said it in a while. Ivanti Zeroday. No. I said it on the show. Are your minds blown? I wish I had more effects here, like I could do like a mind blowing. So vulnerabilities in Ivanti products have become really popular targets for the Chinese and the Russians because apparently people are gluten for punishment. According to CISA, research is similar to Spawn Chimera, a variant of the Spawn malware family that withstands system reboots. Mandiant previously observed UNC 5337 deploying the Spawn malware variants against vulnerabilities in Ivanti Connect secure appliances. So there's that there. North Koreans, for their end, and the Lazarus group from North Korea have adopted the ClickFix tactics to deploy malware targeting job seekers in the cryptocurrency industry, particularly in centralized finance. The development reported by Sequoia is seen as an evolution in their contagious interview campaign, again, going after people looking for jobs, tagging them with malware, and then stealing their entire crypto wallet there. Sequoia says Lazarus impersonates numerous well-known companies in their latest campaign, like Coinbase, Qcoin, Kraken, Circle, Scruticize, BlockFi, Tether, Robinhood, and Bybit. Here's the thing here. I'm not going to go further into it because this is what they're doing, but I'll tell you this. If you're approached by a company, if you're looking for a job, what I would do is reach out directly to the company to validate. Don't trust email. Don't trust LinkedIn. Reach out directly to the company and validate that there's someone by that name that works there and that's an active job that they're interviewing for. It should exist on their website under their jobs there as well. So do just that. A Canadian hacker has been arrested for allegedly stealing data from the Texas GOP. The Canadian man Aubrey Cottle, 37, was arrested last Wednesday in Canada, where he's also facing charges. The Justice Department unsealed a complaint in September of 2024, an arrest warrant accusing Cottle of gaining access to the systems of Epic, a third-party hosting company for the websites for the Texas Republican Party and the Texas Right to Life anti-abortion group. According to the prosecutor, Cottle breached Epic to deface and download a backup of the Texas Republican Party's web server, which contained PII. Cottle then allegedly shared that stolen data online and allowed anyone to download it before publicly taking credit for the attack on social media. Oh, these people. He's now been arrested. He's facing extradition and 5 years in prison. And I hope he goes to a Texas prison and he's there. Yeah, there's that. Phishing as a service platform named Lucid is now targeting 169 entities in 88 countries. They're using, guess what, not emails, but phishing. Well-crafted messages sent an iMessage and RCS on Android. Lucid has been operated by Chinese cyber criminals known as the Jin Group since at least mid-2023. It's sold to other threat actors with a subscription-based model that gives them access to over 1,000 phishing domains, tailored auto-generated phishing sites, and even pro-grade spamming tools. ProDraft researchers know that Jin has been using the Darkula V3 platform for this operation, indicating a potential connection between the two platforms. Subscriptions are sold via a dedicated Telegram channel with 2,000 members, and customers are granted access via license on a weekly basis. And again, they're going after text messages. So, cyber awareness. If you're not training for texting, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. And finally, the French regulators are fining Apple $162 million. Guess what? For an anti-competitive use of a privacy tool. I mean, I'm telling you, Europe's just going down this slope. Like, they're running into a wall. Everyone's saying, you're running into a wall. You got to turn. And they're like, watch me go into the wall and I will break it because I'm the amazing Hulk. And that's not going to happen. So, I mean, obviously everything going on with Marine Le Pen in France has significant challenges for even claiming the rule of law in the country. But now we're seeing a fine against Apple for 150 million euros, the equivalent of $162 million, for anti-competitive practices. For, that tool that protects users from targeted advertising by saying, do you want the app to actually track your movement on other apps, yes or no? And you typically say opt out, you don't want that. Well, according to the French competition authority, if you can call it that, Apple exploited its dominance in the mobile app advertising marketplace between 2021 and 2023 through its ATT app tracking transparency mechanism to determine which apps can monitor their online activities. Apparently, that's bad. From the country that's selling you GDPR, that's bad. I said it in 2017. GDPR was a money grab by the EU. It had nothing to do with privacy, little to do with privacy. It's privacy allowing government to go after big companies and find them in order to run their pockets because they can't run a budget. The same applies here. Same exact thing. The French never miss an opportunity to shoot themselves in the head. They do this here allegedly because the app feature would hurt small businesses that don't really have the expertise of how to advertise, and it would impact them. So pay us. Now, is any of that money going to those businesses impacted? No, it's stuffing the coffers of the French regulators while they prosecute their political opponents, put them in jail because they're leading in the polls and they're seeing their grip of power slowly or quickly slip away as the world's waking up to that as well. That's it for our show this morning. We'll be back again at tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, live here with all the latest and greatest. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Thank you all, by the way. Porch Pirates 2.0. Yes, the interpreter's there, and they were often invited. Second job, CCP. That's right. It's first job, CCP. Second job, take American payer money, spy on America, and then spit in the country that hosted you for allegedly being an intellectual. So there's that. But we'll know more about that story as it becomes available. Currently, everything's under wraps. We don't know exactly what happened there. We don't know if they were into China or if they were arrested for espionage. We still don't know that yet. That's it for the show. Again, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.